So if you're a leader trying to get AI to actually work in the real world, you know it's a mess, right? Forget the slick demos, forget though the hype. What we're going to do today is lay out a really clear, practical framework to get you from that data chaos to some actual clarity. Okay, let's jump right in. All right, first things first, let's just get a quick reality check. Up to 80% of corporate AI projects just fail. And I don't mean they just kind of underperform. No, they fail completely. A lot of them just become expensive shelfware. This isn't just some number on a slide. This is a real multi-million-dollar problem just sitting on servers, gathering digital dust. So why? Why does this keep happening? I bet this sounds painfully familiar. You see this brilliant pilot. I mean, the accuracy metrics, they're amazing. The leadership team is totally jazzed after the demo. And then, crickets. Adoption stalls out at, 12%? And your best people, your subject matter experts, they won't even touch the thing. See, the problem is almost never the tech itself. The breakdown, that's happening somewhere else entirely. Look, if we're gonna fix this, we've got to stop talking about AI like it's some sleek, futuristic thing that just drops into place. We have to start getting real about how our companies actually work. And we need to give this reality a name. Let's call it what it is, the Frankenstein Stitch. And yeah, it's not pretty, it's that uncomfortable truth that our so-called AI platform is really just this patchwork of different systems all cobbled together over decades. But here's the key thing to get. This isn't a bug, it's a feature of how big companies actually run. So what's actually in your Frankenstein Stitch? Well, it probably looks something like this. You've got that legacy ERP system from like 2008. You've got some random Python scripts that a developer wrote 5 years ago who's not even at the company anymore. You've got a few modern API calls to Claude or GPT-4. And, oh yeah, that one database that nobody wants to touch. And this is the crucial part. Somewhere in that whole mess, there's a human making the final decision. The companies that actually win at this, they don't try to rip and replace this whole thing. No, they learn how to orchestrate it. Okay, so if this Frankenstein Stitch is our reality, what do we do? How do we move forward? Well, it doesn't start with a new tool. It starts with a new way of thinking. It's all about asking a completely different kind of question. And this, right here, is the critical shift. Look, we've all been trained to start with the tech, to ask, hey, what can this cool new AI do? But let's be honest, that's the road to a brilliant demo and absolutely zero adoption. The right question, the one you need to be asking, is all about value. It's, what is the most painful, mind-numbing, soul-crushing work that is just killing our best people? That's where you start. And we can give this a name too. Let's call it the friction tax. It's this invisible drag on your whole organization. Think about it. It's your compliance analyst who's spending 6 hours a day just gathering data instead of actually analyzing risk. So the real goal of AI isn't just implementation. It's about eliminating this tax. It's about liberating your best people to do the high-value work you actually hired them to do in the first place. So to actually do this, you need a map. You need some kind of diagnostic tool to see where your projects are strong and, more importantly, where they're breaking down. And that's where the 7P compass comes in. Just think of it like this. It's the 7 key directions you have to check as you're trying to navigate from all that chaos towards some real clarity. Okay, so this compass has 7 points. And it all begins with purpose. This is your anchor. It's the why. Why are we even doing this? And it has to be tied directly to getting rid of some real friction in the business. Next up, and honestly, this is the most critical one, people. They are your North Star. These are the operators, the experts on the ground. And if they don't own the system you're building, it is going to fail. Full stop. Now, those people are supported by the platforms. These are your enablers, right? The tools, the APIs, everything that stitches it all together. And the data itself? That flows through the pipelines. You can think of these as the actual sutures holding your Frankenstein Stitch together. And if your data quality is junkier, well, the whole system just falls apart. All of this is leading somewhere, right? It's leading to your products. This is the outcome, the finish line. It's that moment where this whole orchestrated workflow actually solves a real problem for a real human being. Now, wrapping around this whole process, you have your principles. These are the guardrails, the governance, the ethics, the things that force you to stop and ask, not just, can we do this, but should we do this? And finally, you've got to monitor its health.
That's performance. This is the pulse of the system. You have to be constantly measuring real business outcomes, not just tech metrics, so you can tweak and recalibrate as you go.
Now, here's what's so powerful about this. It's how interconnected all of these pillars are. I mean, think about it. If your people don't trust the data coming from the pipelines, guess what? They're not going to use the product. If your principles are all fuzzy and unclear, your team is going to be paralyzed. They can't build on the platform. A weakness in just one of these pillars makes the whole system wobble, and eventually, it's going to collapse.
Okay, so the crucial takeaway here is that this is not just some abstract theory. You can, and you should, use this compass as an active diagnostic tool. Like right now, today, you can use it to pressure test your own AI initiatives.
Let's start with purpose. Go ask your team this one simple question. If you don't get a crisp, clear, one-sentence answer, you don't really have a purpose yet. What you have is a piece of technology that's looking for a problem to solve.
All right, let's talk about people. This one is huge. Ask yourself this. Is your best analyst in the room co-designing the solution with your engineers? Or are you just building something and then handing them a finished product, crossing your fingers, and hoping they use it? Trust me, that little difference between with them and for them, that's the entire difference between adoption and abandonment. And finally, let's talk about products. And let's be brutally honest here. Is the actual end goal here to solve a real, tangible business problem? Something like taking case resolution time from 6 hours down to 6 minutes. Or is the goal to just show off a really cool AI capability in the next big meeting? Because that answer determines everything. It tells you if you're creating real value or just putting on some expensive AI theater.
And really, this just brings it all home. After watching dozens and dozens of these projects either succeed or completely flame out, I can tell you, 95% of the time, the root cause of failure is not technical. It's almost always a breakdown in one of these other pillars. And more often than not, it's a people problem. So, where does this leave you? What does it all mean? It means you actually have a path forward now. The 7P compass, it's not about finding some magical, perfect solution. It's about giving you, the leader, a tool to ask better questions and to navigate the messiness that is just inherent in any real transformation. So we'll leave you with this final thought. AI is going to reshape your organization. That's happening. That part isn't even up for debate anymore. The real question is whether your people, the ones who actually do the work, have the compass they need to lead that change. Are you equipping them with the framework and the authority to lead this thing from the inside out? Do they have the compass? Because that is what will ultimately determine whether you succeed or fail.